In the quiet wealth of Boston, July 27, 2008, started like any other summer day. But by evening, the city, and the whole country, would be caught in a story stranger than fiction. Imagine this. A man who seemed like a respected member of high society is suddenly arrested by the FBI, accused of kidnapping his own daughter. He says his name is Clark Rockefeller. Yes, like those Rockefellers, one of the richest and most powerful families in America. The media goes wild. But here's the twist and the shocking part. Clark Rockefeller wasn't Clark Rockefeller. He wasn't even American. So who was this man who managed to fit into the highest levels of American society, living a lie for decades? And how did he keep the truth hidden for so long? Our story, like many strange tales, begins far from the fancy world of Boston high society. Picture this. Bavaria, Germany, 1961. A boy is born, named Christian Karl Gerhardsreiter. From a young age, it was clear he didn't want a normal life. He was smart, yes, but also deeply obsessed, fascinated by wealth and status with a hunger that never seemed to end. He didn't come from a rich family. His father was a landscape painter and his mother was a seamstress. But even as a teenager, Christian seemed to understand that the world is like a stage, and he wanted to be the star. At just 17, he made a big decision that would change his life forever. He moved to the United States on a student visa, leaving behind his quiet German life. And that's when the real transformation began. Almost right away, Christian started to leave his real identity behind, like a snake shedding its skin. He began living under fake names, each one carefully made to open new doors. The first big one? Christopher Chichester. But who was Christopher Chichester? What secrets would he collect as he moved through this new world, full of people who had no idea who he really was? And how many more names would he invent before finally becoming the man who called himself Clark Rockefeller? So, Christian arrives in the US, ready to begin his big plan. His first important stop on this journey of lies takes him to San Marino, California. There, using the name Christopher Chichester, he moves in with an older couple, Jonathan and Dee Dee Sohus. It all seemed normal enough, a young man, smart and polite, renting a room in their house. But as we now know, nothing about Christian was ever truly normal. That quiet life didn't last long. One day, without warning, Jonathan Sohus disappeared. Gone, just like that. Dee Dee gave strange excuses, saying he had gone away on a secret mission. People started to get suspicious, but back then, police didn't have enough evidence to take action. Years passed. The mystery of Jonathan's disappearance stayed quiet but never fully forgotten. Then, in 1994, the truth was finally uncovered. Workers digging a hole for a swimming pool in the backyard of that same house found something horrifying: human bones. Tests showed it was Jonathan Sohus. He hadn't just gone missing, he'd been murdered. But by the time they made that terrible discovery, Christian, or Christopher Chichester, was long gone. He had disappeared again, just like Jonathan, and he had already taken on another fake identity. The man who would become Clark Rockefeller was getting better and better at living lies and running away from the truth. After leaving behind a dead body and another fake name in California, Christian didn't hide. He upgraded. He didn't just pick a new name. He created his most ambitious lie yet: Clark Rockefeller. This wasn't just a normal fake name. He claimed to be a Rockefeller, one of the richest families in American history, and people believed him. He told stories about going to top universities like Yale and Columbia, but none of it was true. He acted like an expert in fine art, antiques, and history, all things he had studied just enough to sound convincing. He said he lived off a family fortune, managed by secret trust, which explained why he never needed to work. And amazingly, it worked. Not just on random strangers, honey, but on powerful people. He was invited to fancy parties, made friends with rich business people, and even got married to Sandra Boss, a smart, successful Harvard graduate and business consultant. They lived a comfortable life in Manhattan, surrounded by important people. Even some of the smartest minds in finance believed his story. no one asked too many questions, because who lies about being a Rockefeller? But how did he keep the lie going so long? What made him so good at tricking everyone? And when would his house of cards finally fall? For years, the fake Clark Rockefeller lived his lie without being caught. He blended in, fooled everyone, and lived like the rich man he pretended to be. But every lie eventually breaks. And for Clark, the thing that broke it all was the one thing he may have truly cared about: his daughter. After Sandra started to doubt him, their marriage ended in divorce. The court gave her full custody of their daughter since Clark had no proof of who he really was. For a man used to being in control, this was too much. Then came July 27, 2008, the day our story began. During a supervised visit in Boston, Clark made a sudden and dangerous move. He grabbed his daughter and disappeared. This wasn't just another lie or fake name. This was a kidnapping. Police and the FBI launched a huge manhunt. News reports spread the story across the country. Everyone was looking for Clark Rockefeller. A few days later, they found him in Baltimore. He was still pretending to be Clark, but the lie was about to end. Once arrested, the police checked his fingerprints. They didn't match anyone named Rockefeller. They matched someone else. Christian Karl Gerhartsreiter, the man who had once come to America as a teenager, and left a dead body behind in California. When the truth came out and that Clark Rockefeller was really Christian Gerhartsreiter, it shocked the whole country. The man who had tricked his way into high society was now behind bars, facing serious charges. But the kidnapping was just the beginning. Now that they knew his real name, police started digging deeper into his past, and soon, they found the connection to his old identity, Christopher Chichester, and the unsolved murder of Jonathan Sohus. The media couldn't get enough of the story. A man who lived a completely fake life for decades, now tied to a murder? It was a true crime sensation. Christian was first found guilty of kidnapping his daughter and sentenced to prison in Massachusetts. Then California brought him back to face trial for the murder of Jonathan Sohus. In another dramatic court case, he was found guilty of murder and sentenced to decades more behind bars. Psychologists who studied him said he showed signs of narcissistic personality disorder, someone who craved attention and power and didn't care who he hurt to get it. But even after the truth came out, one question remained. Did Christian Gerhartsreiter ever really stop believing he was Clark Rockefeller? Or was the lie so deep that even he couldn't let it go? So now the lie was finally over. Christian Karl Gerhartsreiter, the fake Rockefeller, was exposed and locked up. But this story isn't just about him. It's about how he fooled so many people for so long. Because the truth is, he understood something very scary about people. If you act important enough, most people won't ask questions. He used the power of a famous name. He acted rich, confident, and mysterious. And in a society that respects wealth and status, that was enough. People wanted to believe he was a Rockefeller. It made them feel connected to something big. Even smart, careful people didn't question him. Because who would fake something so bold? When the truth came out, the media exploded. Books, interviews, documentaries. Everyone wanted to understand how he did it. And what we learned is simple. He took advantage of people's desire for prestige and their trust and confidence. He lived a lie so big, so unbelievable that no one thought to doubt it. And that's the scariest part of all. Because if he could get away with it, who else might be doing the same thing? Right now?